I stared at the envelope on my kitchen counter, my coffee growing cold beside it. The return address was familiar, my parents' house, where I grew up, where I wasn't welcome anymore. Inside was a bill, neatly typed and itemized like a restaurant check. But instead of food, it listed my sister Amanda's medical expenses, $28,000. Just like that, as if they were ordering takeout. My phone buzzed. Mom's text glowed on the screen. Honey, we know you have the money. It's for family. Family. The word tasted bitter in my mouth. The same family that didn't show up to my housewarming last week. The same family that said they were too busy to see the house I'd worked so hard to buy. The house that represented everything I'd achieved on my own. I'm Sarah, 32, and this is how I discovered my family had been committing insurance fraud using my policy for years, and how I made sure they paid back every cent they stole. The thing about family is, they know exactly where to hurt you. They know your weak spots, your pressure points, the exact words that'll make you cave. For years, I was the responsible one. The one who got a good job in insurance claims investigation, who saved her money, who helped out whenever anyone needed it. And they needed it often. Amanda, my younger sister by 2 years, was always the family favorite. The creative one. The free spirit. The one who needed more support. When she quit her job to become an artist, guess who covered her rent? When she needed emergency dental work, guess whose credit card paid for it? When she wanted to go on a healing retreat in Bali, guess who got guilt-tripped into funding it? But last week was different. My housewarming party was supposed to be special. I'd finally done it, bought my own place, a beautiful 3-bedroom house with a garden. I'd sent out invitations months in advance. Mom promised to make her famous lasagna. Dad said he'd bring his tools to help me set up. Amanda was supposed to help decorate. The morning of the party, I got a text. Sorry, honey. Amanda's not feeling well. We need to take care of her. You understand, right? Maybe we can do something small later. I stood in my empty house, surrounded by unopened boxes and untouched party platters, watching as my friends arrived one by one, their faces full of pity when I explained my family couldn't make it. Again. Now, a week later, here was this bill. I picked it up again, examining the itemized list. Emergency room visits, specialist consultations, prescription medications, all dated over the past 3 years. But something felt off. The dates, the amounts, they didn't add up. That's when I remembered. 3 years ago, when I first started at the insurance company, I'd added Amanda to my policy as a dependent. Mom had insisted it would help the family save money. I'd agreed because that's what I always did. Helped out, made things easier, played the good daughter. I opened my laptop and logged into my work system. As a senior claims investigator, I had access to all policy records. My hands trembled slightly as I pulled up Amanda's file. What I found made my blood run cold. The claims didn't match. Not even close. Where the bill showed a $3,000 emergency room visit for severe abdominal pain, the insurance claim was for $6,000. Where it listed $2,500 for specialist consultations, the claim showed $5,000. Every single item was inflated, doubled, sometimes tripled. They had been filing false claims and pocketing the difference, using my policy, using my name. For 3 years. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Mom. Sarah, did you get our letter? Amanda really needs this. Don't make things difficult. Difficult. That's what they always called me when I didn't immediately give them what they wanted. Difficult. Selfish. Uncaring. I scrolled through more records, my hands now shaking with anger. The total amount they claimed over 3 years, $175,000. The amount they'd actually spent, less than a third of that. They'd pocketed over $120,000 using my insurance policy, my credentials, my trust. The worst part, they used my position at the company to get away with it. They knew claims from employees' families got less scrutiny. They knew I had a spotless record, that no one would question claims from my dependents. My coffee was completely cold now, but I didn't care. I was too busy compiling a file, downloading every fraudulent claim, every discrepancy, every piece of evidence showing exactly what they'd done. Another text. Sarah, your father says if you're going to be difficult about this, maybe we need to discuss your inheritance. I actually laughed out loud at that one. Inheritance? The house they remortgaged 3 times to pay for Amanda's projects. The savings they drained for her emergencies. What exactly did they think I was going to inherit? My phone rang. Amanda's face appeared on the screen, her perfect smile mocking me. I let it go to voicemail. Sarah, please, her message whined. You know I've been struggling. The medical bills are killing me. Mom and Dad can't help anymore. You're the only one with money. Don't be selfish. Selfish. There was that word again. I opened my email and started composing a message to my company's fraud investigation department. My hands weren't shaking anymore. I felt calm, focused, like I always did when working on a particularly complex case. To whom it may concern, I am writing to report a series of fraudulent insurance claims. My phone kept buzzing, text after text. Call after call, I ignored them all. As a claims investigator with this company, I feel it is my ethical obligation to report this fraud. Another voicemail from Mom. Sarah, whatever you're thinking of doing, remember, we're family. Family protects each other. I have attached comprehensive documentation showing a pattern of intentional fraud spanning 3 years. Dad's voice next. Don't do anything stupid, Sarah. You'll regret it. The total amount of fraudulent claims exceeds $120,000. Amanda again. You're just jealous because Mom and Dad love me more. You've always been jealous. I finished the email, attached all the documentation, and hovered my mouse over the send button. Years of conditioning, of being the good daughter, the responsible one, made me hesitate for just a moment. Then I remembered my empty house last week, the pity in my friend's eyes, the years of manipulation, the feeling of being used, watching them drain me dry while pretending it was for my own good. I clicked send. Within minutes, my work phone started ringing. The fraud department head, Mr. Johnson, wanted to meet immediately. I agreed to come in, even though it was Sunday. As I drove to the office, my personal phone kept buzzing. They must have somehow sensed what I'd done. Mom's texts were getting desperate. Sarah, please call us. Whatever you're doing, stop. We can talk about this. The fraud department was quiet on a Sunday morning. Mr. Johnson was waiting, his face grave. Sarah, these allegations. Are you sure about this? I handed him my phone, showed him the bill they sent me, the texts, the threats. Opened my personal bank records, showing how they'd been using me for years. They used my position here. I set my voice steady. They used my trust, and they need to pay for it. He nodded slowly, the understanding dawning in his eyes. This will mean an official investigation. Your family could face criminal charges. Are you prepared for that? I thought about my empty house, about years of being the family ATM, about watching them praise Amanda while treating me like a bank account with legs. Yes, I said. I'm prepared. By the time I left the office, the investigation was officially opened. My family's phones would be buzzing now, not mine. Official notices of investigation, demands for documentation, warnings about potential criminal charges. I drove home to my beautiful empty house. As I pulled into the driveway, I saw them, Mom, Dad, and Amanda, standing on my porch. Mom was crying, Dad looked furious, and Amanda just looked scared. I parked the car, but didn't get out. Instead, I pulled out my phone and called the police. Hello. Yes, I'd like to report trespassers on my property. I watched through my windshield as a patrol car pulled up 10 minutes later. Watched as my family tried to argue, to explain, to manipulate their way out of it like they always did. Watched as they were escorted off my property. Mom's still crying, Dad's still threatening, Amanda still playing the victim. As their cars disappeared down the street, I finally got out and walked into my house. It was quiet, peaceful. No guilt, no manipulation, no demands. Just me, my achievements, my space. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Mom. You've destroyed this family. I typed back 3 words. No, you did. Then I blocked their numbers, every one of them, and opened a bottle of wine. Tomorrow, the insurance company's investigation would begin. Tomorrow, they'd learn exactly what happens when you push too far, take too much, assume too much. But tonight, I would sleep peacefully in my own house, knowing I'd finally done something for myself. The insurance company moved fast. By Monday morning, every fraudulent claim was flagged and every payment frozen. I sat in my office, watching as emails flooded in from the investigation team. They'd found even more than I had: claims for procedures that never happened, medications that were never prescribed, treatments that existed only on paper. My colleague Jessica stopped by my desk, her face concerned. "Sarah, your sister's here. She's making a scene in the lobby." I pulled up the security feed on my computer. There was Amanda, designer handbag on her arm, probably bought with fraud money, dramatically crying to anyone who would listen. "My sister's trying to destroy me. She's jealous. She's always been jealous." I clicked the intercom. "Security, please escort Ms. Amanda Wilson from the premises. She's involved in an active fraud investigation." Through the feed, I watched as two security guards approached her. She tried her usual tactics: tears, pleading, playing the victim. But unlike our family, these people were immune to her manipulation. "You can't do this," she screamed as they led her out. "I'm her sister." My phone had been ringing nonstop since yesterday, not just from my family, but from their friends, distant relatives, even our old neighbors. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone thought they knew better. "You can't do this to your own sister. Family is everything. How could you be so heartless?" But they didn't know. They didn't see the years of manipulation, the constant drain, the way they used my position, my trust, my love against me. Mr. Johnson called me into his office around noon. "The numbers are worse than we thought," he said, sliding a folder across his desk. "We found evidence of them coaching other families on how to commit insurance fraud. Your sister was running a sort of consultation business." I opened the folder. Inside were screenshots from a private Facebook group. Amanda's smiling face was there, offering advice on how to maximize insurance claims. She'd been charging people $500 for consultations on how to defraud insurance companies, using my insider knowledge, my position, my reputation. "The FBI has been notified," Mr. Johnson continued. "This goes beyond simple fraud. This is organized crime." I should have felt something: sadness, regret, maybe even guilt. Instead, I felt relieved. Finally, there would be consequences. My work phone rang. It was the hospital where Amanda claimed to have had all those procedures. They'd finished their audit. "Ms. Wilson, we've reviewed all the claims submitted under your insurance. Most of these procedures, they never happened. The dates, the doctors listed, some of them don't even work here." I thanked them and added their report to the growing file. Each piece of evidence was another nail in the coffin my family had built for themselves. Around 3 p.m., Dad showed up. Unlike Amanda, he didn't make a scene. He walked straight to the security desk and asked for me. I watched through the security feed as he stood there, looking older than I'd ever seen him. Part of me wanted to go down, to explain, to make him understand. But I knew better. He wasn't here to understand. He was here to control. I sent security to deliver a message: "Mr. Wilson, your presence has been noted in our investigation. Please leave before we contact the authorities." He left, but not before looking directly into the security camera. His eyes held no remorse, only anger. The same anger I'd seen whenever I questioned their demands or hesitated to give them what they wanted. By the end of the day, the insurance company had compiled enough evidence to file criminal charges. The FBI would be conducting interviews tomorrow. My family would be getting official notices soon. As I drove home, I passed by my parents' house. Cars were parked outside. Aunts, uncles, family friends. No doubt they were having a meeting, trying to figure out how to fix this, how to manipulate their way out like they always did. But this time was different. This time there would be no fixing, no manipulation, no guilty daughter writing checks to make it all go away. My phone rang, an unknown number. I answered on speaker. "Sarah?" It was my Aunt Linda. "Your mother is devastated. She's not eating, not sleeping. Is this what you wanted?" What I wanted. I laughed. What I wanted was a family that didn't use me. What I wanted was a sister who didn't steal from me. What I wanted was parents who showed up to my housewarming party. "But they're your family." "No," I said firmly. "They're criminals who happen to be related to me. There's a difference." I hung up and blocked her number too. At home, I opened my laptop and started writing a detailed account of everything. Every manipulation, every lie, every stolen dollar. Not for the investigation, but for myself. To remind myself why I was doing this, why it was necessary. My doorbell rang. Through the security camera, I saw Mom standing there, makeup streaked with tears. "Sarah, please," she called out. "We can fix this. We'll pay it all back. Just stop the investigation. I pressed the intercom button. You have 30 seconds to leave my property before I call the police. Again. We're your family, she sobbed. How can you do this to your family? The same way you did it to me, I replied, easily. I watched her leave, her shoulders shaking with sobs. But I felt nothing. They'd taken everything from me, my trust, my money, my professional reputation. Now it was my turn to take something from them. The truth. As night fell, I sat in my quiet house, looking through old family photos. Happy smiles hiding ugly truths. Perfect moments concealing years of manipulation and fraud. Tomorrow, the FBI would interview them. Tomorrow, they would learn that actions have consequences. Tomorrow, their perfect family facade would crumble. But tonight I was finally free. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Amanda. I hope you're happy. You've ruined everything. I smiled and typed back, no, you did that all on your own. Then I turned off my phone, poured myself another glass of wine, and started planning my new life. A life without their constant demands, their manipulation, their fraud. A life that was truly mine. The FBI interviews hit my family like a hurricane. I watched from my office as Agent Torres, a sharp-eyed woman in her 40s, systematically dismantled their carefully constructed lies. Amanda went first. Through the two-way mirror, I saw her usual tactics fail spectacularly. The tears, the dramatic sighs, the claims of misunderstanding, none of it worked on Agent Torres. Ms. Wilson, Agent Torres said, her voice cool and professional. We have evidence of you running workshops teaching others how to commit insurance fraud. Would you like to explain that? Amanda's face crumbled. It was just advice. I was helping people navigate the system. By using your sister's position, by teaching them how to file false claims. The interview lasted 4 hours. By the end, Amanda had implicated not just herself, but our parents, several of their friends, and a network of people who'd paid her for consulting. Dad's interview was shorter, but more explosive. He tried intimidation first, then bargaining, and finally, desperate pleading. My daughter is making a mistake, he insisted. This is a family matter. No, Mr. Wilson, Agent Torres corrected. This is a federal crime. When they showed him the evidence, the fake medical records, the inflated claims, the money trails, his face went pale. For the first time in my life, I saw real fear in his eyes. Mom's interview was perhaps the most revealing. She broke down almost immediately, but not from guilt. She was angry. Sarah owes us, she sobbed. We raised her. We gave her everything. She had a duty to help her sister. By allowing you to commit fraud? Agent Torres asked. It wasn't fraud, Mom insisted. It was family helping family. But the evidence told a different story. Bank records showed they'd been living well beyond their means for years. Designer clothes, luxury vacations, expensive restaurants, all funded by fraudulent insurance claims made under my policy. By the end of the day, Agent Torres had enough for multiple indictments. She called me into her office to update me. Your family's fraud scheme goes deeper than we initially thought, she explained, spreading photos across her desk. Your sister wasn't just teaching people how to commit fraud, she was taking a percentage of their successful claims. The photos showed Amanda at workshops held in hotel conference rooms, teaching others how to manipulate the system, my company. We're looking at significant prison time, Agent Torres continued. Your parents could face up to 15 years. Your sister, given her role as the organizer, could face more. I should have felt something, sadness, regret, anything. Instead, I felt oddly peaceful. The news spread through our community like wildfire. People who'd been calling me heartless suddenly went quiet when the details emerged. Those who'd benefited from Amanda's workshops started deleting social media posts, trying to distance themselves. But it was too late. The FBI had everything. That evening, as I left work, I found Aunt Linda waiting by my car. They're going to arrest them tomorrow, she said, her voice shaking. They're going to take them away in handcuffs. Is that what you want? I looked at her, really looked at her. She'd always been Mom's biggest enabler, always defending their actions, always pushing me to give more. What I wanted, I said quietly, was a family that didn't see me as an ATM. What I wanted was a sister who didn't steal from me. What I wanted was parents who actually showed up when I needed them. But prison, she whispered. They're your family. No, I corrected her. They're criminals who happen to share my DNA, and criminals face consequences. I got in my car and drove home, leaving her standing in the parking lot. At home, I found my mailbox full of letters, cards from old family friends expressing their disappointment in me, letters from relatives telling me I was making a huge mistake, even a note from my old Sunday school teacher asking how I could do this to my own flesh and blood. I threw them all in the recycling without opening them. My phone buzzed, a text from Amanda. They're coming to arrest us tomorrow. This is your last chance to stop this. Please, Sarah, we can work something out. I thought about my empty housewarming party, about years of manipulation and theft, about how they used my position, my trust, my love against me. I typed back, "You had years of chances. You chose fraud instead. Goodbye, Amanda." Then I opened my laptop and started writing an email to everyone in our extended family and social circle. They deserved to know the truth, not the manipulated version my family had been spreading, but the real story. I attached documents, records, evidence of years of fraud. Proof of how they'd used me, stolen from me, betrayed my trust. This isn't about family, I wrote. This is about crime. And criminals face consequences, regardless of their DNA. I hit send and closed my laptop. Tomorrow, they would be arrested. Tomorrow, their perfect family facade would finally shatter completely. But tonight I would sleep peacefully, knowing I finally stood up for myself. My doorbell rang one last time. Through the security camera, I saw all three of them, Mom, Dad, and Amanda, standing on my porch. "Sarah, please," Mom called out. "We can fix this. We'll pay everything back." I pressed the intercom button. "Step off my property now, or I'll call the police. This is your only warning. You can't do this to us," Amanda screamed. "We're your family." "No," I said firmly. "You're criminals. And tomorrow, everyone will know it." I watched them leave, their shoulders slumped in defeat. For the first time in years, they couldn't manipulate their way out, couldn't guilt me into fixing their problems. Tomorrow would bring arrests, indictments, the final collapse of their fraudulent world. But tonight I was finally truly free. 5 years have passed since that day. The arrest made local headlines. Family insurance fraud ring exposed by whistleblower daughter. The trials were quick. The evidence was overwhelming. Amanda got 12 years, and Mom and Dad each got 8. The FBI recovered most of the money, though some had been spent on their lavish lifestyle. I kept the newspaper clipping, not out of spite, but as a reminder that standing up for yourself isn't betrayal, it's survival. Today, I'm sitting in my garden, the same house they refused to visit for my housewarming party. But it's different now. The empty rooms are filled with peace instead of expectations. The silence holds no guilt, only contentment. My phone buzzes. A message from Agent Torres. Amanda's consulting clients are still being prosecuted. The fraud ring was bigger than anyone imagined. Some days, I wonder how many families they taught to steal, how many others they corrupted with their greed. Last week, I received a letter from Mom in prison. The same flowing handwriting, the same emotional manipulation. "We're still your family, Sarah. When we get out, we'll need help starting over. You're all we have." I didn't respond. Some lessons they'll never learn. Dad hasn't written. His pride won't allow it. But I heard through relatives that he tells everyone I betrayed them, that I chose money over family. They don't mention the fraud, the theft, the years of manipulation. In their story, I'm still the villain. Amanda writes monthly, each letter a masterpiece of manipulation. She's changed, she's sorry, she's learned her lesson. But between the lines, I can still read the truth. She's sorry she got caught, not sorry she did it. My life has moved forward. I was promoted at work. My exposure of the fraud ring earned me respect in the industry. I've made real friends, people who show up not because they want something, but because they care. Last month, I got married. A small ceremony in my backyard, surrounded by people who love me for who I am, not what I can give them. My husband knows my story. He understands why I check every financial document twice, why I keep such careful records. The day before my wedding, Aunt Linda called. "They should be there," she said. "It's not right to get married without your family." "I have family," I replied. "Real family. People who don't steal from me, who don't use me, who show up when they say they will." I hung up before she could respond. Sometimes late at night, I look at old family photos. Not with regret, but with clarity. Behind every smile was a scheme. Behind every hug was a hand reaching for my wallet. It wasn't love. It was exploitation dressed up as family obligation. My doorbell rings. Through the security camera, I see a delivery person with flowers. The card reads, "Happy birthday, Sarah. Love, Mom, Dad, and Amanda." I check the prison records. They've been trying to get their sentences reduced. This is just another manipulation, another attempt to prove they've changed. I donate the flowers to a local hospital and shred the card. My real celebration comes later. Dinner with friends who remember my birthday because they care, not because they want something. People who show up when they say they will, who give without expecting anything in return. This is what family should be. As I sit in my garden, watching the sunset, I feel nothing but peace. The guilt is gone, replaced by understanding. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away, even from blood ties, when those ties become chains. My phone buzzes again, a group text from my real family. Friends planning a weekend barbecue. No manipulation, no hidden agendas. Just genuine connection. I smile and type back, "I'll be there." Because that's what real family does. They show up, they care, they love without conditions. And sometimes they're not the ones you're born to, but the ones you choose.